fully customizable? Come on, Razer. That's just fucking horse shit. I mean, sort of. Alright, I'm here. I got the Razer Panthera Evo. I'm not going to do a review of this. There's plenty of reviews. This has been out for so long. I'm not even going to bother with that shit. But somebody on Reddit posted that they wanted to put a crown or a Korean lever in, and is it possible? And you know, most of the consensus seems to be it's not really possible without removing some of the plastic and the internals. So what I thought would be good is to kind of show you guys what it looks like inside, and then is it actually possible to put a Korean lever in the Razer Panthera Evo. And as you can see already, it is possible. It's in there, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on the inside. And I'm just going to warn you, it's not going to be pretty. Alright, fully customizable. I think what they really mean is you can change the ball top that comes with it, and you can most likely, with some relative ease, change the buttons. Although even that is difficult. So other than that, and then the artwork, right? This is the biggest difference between this and the regular Panthera, is that this has a removable acrylic top that pops off, and then you can pull the artwork out from underneath and change it. So customizable, like in the, you know, in the sense that yes, you can remove some minor cosmetic things. It's definitely not mod friendly. So that's the distinction I would make. All right, so let's pull this off, and I'm going to go pretty quick, and I'll show you kind of where everything's at in terms of the screws. This is one of the biggest complaints. It's hard to get into. There's a lot of screws. It's sort of true. So let's take a look. So first I'm going to get the lever off, and then we'll get to work. Alright, the screws for the acrylic top are on the bottom. So let's pull those out. Kind of like to do one at a time because they're very small. See, they're very tiny. We're just going to skip ahead. So you have the 6 screws on the bottom, which hold the acrylic top, and then you have more screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 more screws on the top before you can actually get into it. And these are them over here. So I already unscrewed them just so we don't have to go through that whole process, because you don't want to watch that. I will note though that the buttons here, we can really see there is an extra piece of plastic here. There's a little ring underneath them. That's to keep the buttons raised. Oh, there goes the. Just to keep the button raised because the acrylic top is so thick. Man, the acrylic top is so thick that if you don't have the rings there, the buttons won't sit flush with the top, and so it'll be it won't really work because they'll be underneath the plastic and it's awkward. So if you do remove the buttons, just make sure that you keep those little plastic rings. Make sure you put them on, so that way it'll actually sit properly. All right, so let's get inside. There are 2 cables over here, and I've already kind of taken out the cable from the back. There are 2 cables over here, so be careful when you open it up. What I like to do is kind of pull from the back where the flap is and just kind of lift. And then because of the 2 cables here, what I do is kind of just gently twist it underneath. Boom, see? And then they stay. I don't pull anything. Alright, so these are the Razer buttons that come with the Razer Panthera Evo. This is one of the bigger selling points, or at least for Razer it is. The buttons aren't bad. I mean, they're fine. They're switches, mechanical switches, linear mechanical switches, and they're fine. I mean, they work well. I'm just not a particular fan of them. I don't really like the feel. I like a more click for my mechanical switches. So I've put in some gamer fingers, which I'll probably switch out for a full set once I have some artwork coming. And then in here is where you have the PCB board. And I won't unscrew that. You can do that later. But I will say, though, if you're going to mod this thing, one of the bigger issues here is that almost everything is glued down. So if I did open this up, all of the connections, you can sort of see it here. You see that right there? That's glue. So they've glued down basically every connection. And the glue is, I mean, relatively easy to get off for those pieces. But then, and you can't really see it, although you can see this one. See how red? It's red. They glued the fucking screws down for the mounting plate. Like they put this, you know, whatever this adhesive is to keep the screws from being removed. And one of them was just plain gone because I had to strip it out because that's how bad it was. I mean, I couldn't get, you just can't get it out. It just would not come. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. And that was really frustrating. And even the connection here was glued. So I had to take all that glue off. So they really don't want you to mess with the internals too much. And I get it, right? They don't want anything to happen in shipping. They don't want any malfunctions. It makes sense to me. It's just annoying. So, but ultimately it's fine. So you can see I already have the lever on here. So this is a Crown 309MJ-DX. It's the removable version. And the mounting plate fit perfectly. The holes lined up just fine. And it fits, it mounts in the way that it's supposed to. Unlike the Victrix, which, let me pull that out real quick. Here's this big boy. So this crown actually used to be in the Victrix because I prefer Korean lever over Japanese, but that's just me. If you do it, though, and it fits, the Crown 309MJ-DX does fit perfectly. So does the golden lever, the new golden lever. Fits perfectly inside of the Victrix now because of the slim design. But if you do put it in the Victrix, the mounting holes in the way that they're supposed to be, it just doesn't line up right with the plate to the Korean levers. So instead of like this, you have to just turn it sideways so it mounts this way. And then just make sure that you know, the switches are in the right order, or hooked up to the right order in the cables. But other than that, it works just fine. So I thought I was going to have to do something similar for the Evo, but I didn't, which was a nice surprise. So mounting was just fine. And I'm obviously not going to take these off and show you because well, it's just a pain in the ass. But there's nothing you need to do underneath here. So this is fine. So you can mount this, put it in. I didn't put the grounding wire in because I'm a bad boy. And I was just fucking lazy. But here's where the fun begins, is that when you install this and when you try to set it into the case, two things are going to happen. One, the actuators on the switch here, or the cables on the switch here are going to hit up against a plastic piece. You can see it here. This kind of lines up with where another plastic piece will hit back here. And this is going to hit it, and it won't fit. And even if you did somehow make this fit, the other big problem is that the mounting plate, while it does fit the screw holes, is too long. And so the plate also hits that, it'll rest on top of that plastic and then won't sit properly. So what do you do in order to get it done? And here's I'm going to show you how sausages are made, right? And yeah, look at that shit right there. Okay. Now, obviously, this is dirtier than it needs to be. Trying to show you. The problem is that it hits a little here. Although you could have just bent it a little bit. I just pulled mine off because I wasn't using that anyways. The bigger problem is that this here, right? So this piece actually runs all the way across. You know, it's a divider in between where the storage is for the cable. So it makes sense. But the cables and the switch end will hit here. So you need to have enough room for it to actually go in a little bit. But then you also need enough off the top where it won't hit that plate. Now, this could have been done cleaner, obviously. If I'd had like a Dremel or something to kind of, you know, make a nicer, cleaner cut in the plastic, you could have easily have just cut out a nice little section and made it look very nice. You wouldn't have this mess that I have. I was impatient and I wanted to see if it could be done, and I just wanted to see what it would take if you were just a kind of single person trying to do this like me. And that's what it takes. So when you put it in, and let me get it back here. Get the cord in there. Something's not. I mean, this is the other thing too, is that some of these cables over here, you kind of have to watch out for. They don't like to sit very well. All right, so if you open it up, you can see. Move that out of the way. You see the plate, right? It's right there. It's right hitting that, and then you can see the switch there, kind of coming through. So that's it. So that's all it really takes. And then once you're done, obviously you can just screw everything back in, and then you have your Korean lever. All right, so it's back on. Good to go. See, I got some gamer fingers. Clicky. I love it. And the Razer. Whatever. It's fine. They're fine. They're fine. But the lever's great. I love a Korean lever. And if I were a millionaire, I would buy a golden lever. But I'm not a millionaire. Well, I mean, I know it's only $125. Well, $125 for a lever is still quite expensive. But also, you know, the sale is always like at 2 in the morning, whenever they go up. And, well, that's when I'm sleeping. So, but maybe one day. But for right now, the crown is great. I love it. So it's all in there. So it looks good, right? So it's not bad. Yes, so it can be done. Korean levers you can put in there. It does require some removing the plastic. But hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully this is helpful. Leave a comment in the below. Don't forget to subscribe because, you know, what's the point, right? And I'll see you guys next time.